5 comics on the dip that might still be worth picking up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this video, we're going to talk about 5 books that are currently on the dip, but I still think might be worth picking up. You know, it's been a week of massive FOMO and a lot of spec books going off in the market, but these books here in this video, I think are good books with good fundamentals that probably should go back up at some point in the future. But before I get into the books, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, helps support the channel doing those things, I would appreciate it. And also, I still have my 10,000 subscriber giveaway contest going on this week. We did pass the 10K milestone, so I will be closing the contest on Saturday night. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel or given yourself an opportunity to win those prizes, make sure to navigate over to that video to give yourself a chance to win. Also, I will be doing a claim sale this weekend, Saturday, 4:30 p.m. PST. If you guys want to hop over to that, we're going to do a little bit of a celebration of 10K. We're going to sell some good books, and I'm going to do a lot of giveaways in that live stream as well. But with all that out of the way, let us get into the video here today. And I have 5 books that are currently on the dip that I still think personally might be worth picking up. And the first book that I wanted to talk about is Avengers number 43 from 1967. And what is the significance of this? Well, this of course is the first appearance of the Red Guardian. Now, the Red Guardian came out in the Black Widow film, was played by David Harbour, and during the summer months was actually a book that got pretty hot in the market. So right there on the slide, I basically took, some of the average prices of the CGCs that were being sold around the time at the height of this book, and then kind of looked at where they are now. So CGC 8.5 then, during the summer of 2021, when we had the Black Widow film, we're selling around that $533 range. Now they sell around the $460 range. So, a 14% correction. But then as we go across different grade levels, CGC 7.5s were being sold at $406 back then. Now they sell at $304, so a 26% correction. And then the average RAWs back then, at the height of the Black Widow film, we're selling around that $150 range. And now, the average market price, not necessarily what they sell for, but when you go onto eBay and you just look at what is out there, they typically sell around that $85 range. So, when I look at those prices and how much they've corrected and think about the character of the Red Guardian, one of the things that stands out to me is that David Harbour has signed a multi-picture deal to return as this character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So to me, it feels like this is a really good opportunity to jump back onto this book if you're someone who missed out in the height of the Black Widow market. Now, of course, I do think it is fair to say that the Red Guardian at best was probably like a C-tier level character. But, because of the fact that David Harbour is playing it, I put a lot of stock into that actor. I think he is a really, really talented actor. And I feel like he definitely elevated the part, or at least the role that he was given in the Black Widow film. So I like his potential to be able to take this character to the next level. It feels like we've been getting a lot of Winter Guard rumors. I mean, I think in current comic books, they have the Winter Guard storyline, still running in Marvel comic books. So to me, it feels like the Red Guardian is going to play an important role in the future. And because he's played by David Harbour, I have a lot of faith that this character is going to continue to be a fan favorite in the future. All right, let's go on now to my second book that I think might be worth buying the dip for. And this one is another Avengers book, Avengers number 23 from 1965. And what is the significance of this? Well, of course, this is the first appearance of Ravonna Renslayer. Now, we got Ravonna in the Loki show, played by Gugu Mbatha-Raw. And if you guys know the comic books, you would know that Ravonna is basically the lover of Kang. And once again, it feels like if the MCU is going to have a big storyline featuring Kang, they're going to be needing to use Ravonna many times over. And this is another one of those situations where I put a lot of stock into the actress. I mean, she's a pretty big rising star. She, broke out in Hamilton. She's been in a lot of other properties. So I would assume that, the MCU would want to utilize her star power many times over. Another little interesting factor about this book is that this is actually the first John Romita art for Marvel comic books. So that is a big historic reason why this book is special. I mean, it's an amazing Kang cover, let alone that it is the first appearance of Ravonna. So another reason why this would be a nice book to have in the collection. If we look at some of the numbers here, CGC 9.0, back then the average price was selling around the $1,150 range. Now it sells around that $790 range, so a 32% correction from the height of Loki. CGC 4.0, there was a high of $275, and now the last sale was $220, so another 20% correction. And then, with books like this, I like to look at those average RAWs, and, anecdotally, I can remember them selling around the, $160 range or so. Now, if you go onto eBay, you can definitely find a decently presenting copy for that $70 range. So another book that I feel like has a bright future still ahead of it, and a book that I think might be worth picking up on the dip. All right, the next book I wanted to talk about here was Tales to Astonish number 90 from 1967. And what is the significance of this? Well, of course, this is the first appearance of Abomination. It is also the first Silver Age appearance of Bera, who Bera, if you guys don't know, is, think of him as like Namor's Loki, like where he's a family member to Namor, but like, it's a rival to Namor. So kind of like how Thor is like, brothers with Loki, but Loki's kind of a rival. And it feels like, on top of the Abomination spec, which is, the reason we're going to talk about this book also has that nice little added bonus in that it's the Silver Age appearance of Bera. And it feels like, once we start to get that Namor stuff, this might become a important book for that reason as well. But let's talk about the Abomination spec. Now, this is a book that absolutely exploded once we got the trailer with Abomination in the Shang-Chi film. And of course, like it does on the other end of that film, this book absolutely fell off the cliff. So if we look at the CGC 8.0s, back then, at the height of Shang-Chi, it was selling around the $866 range. Now it sells around the $474 range, which is a 46% correction. CGC 5.0, 333 back then, now 203, another 40% correction. And then the average RAWs, at the excitement of the film and the trailers, I remember them being sold around that $225 level. Now when I go into eBay, just looking at, general market prices for this thing, I can find them at 100. And one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this book is that we're actually getting Abomination in the She-Hulk show on Disney Plus later this year. Now, we got Abomination in Shang-Chi, but that was just really a short little cameo, whereas in She-Hulk, it feels like Abomination is going to be one of the main actors in that show. And currently, the rumors out there is that, Abomination totally steals the show and is like one of the pivotal, most funniest characters in there. So I really think that, once we get week-to-week episodes with, Abomination, I really think people are going to start to fall in love with this character, and they might actually become that, new fan favorite if he's really, really funny, like, a Drax or say like a Vigilante or something like that. So I feel like now is probably a really good time to buy back into this book if you are someone who is a fan of the Abomination character. And I like the future outlook of it having the Silver Age appearance of Bera as well. All right, the next book I wanted to talk about that might be worth picking up on the dip is Giant Size Defenders number 3 from 1975. And what is the significance of this? Well, this, of course, is the first appearance of the character known as Korvac. Now, Korvac has been a character that has been heavily rumored to possibly be the villain of the Marvel's film in 2023. And one of the things I think is so interesting about this particular rumor is that, we keep on hearing it, or at least I keep on hearing it when I go through those rumor mills and things like that. And this one, starts to feel a lot like the High Evolutionary rumor, where, we start to hear it enough times to where you start to think, this is probably going to come true in some kind of way. So, where there's smoke, there is probably going to be fire. And when we look at those numbers and we got the initial rumors for Michael Korvac, the CGC 9.4s were selling around that $900 range. Now they've kind of come back down to $820. Of course, this is a little small sample size, so kind of hard to get a really accurate determination, but a 10% correction. And then at the CGC 8.0s, they were selling $425 back when there was the height of the rumors. Now you can get one for $282. At least that was the last sale, and then that's a 34% correction. Average RAWs at the height of the rumors were selling around $150. Now when you go into eBay, you can find this book around that $75 range. So to me, again, another interesting spec book that I think has a lot of potential to come true based on the rumors that are out there. But aside from that, I still think this is a great book. It's an early Jim Starlin work. It's also a Defenders title, so a lot of Defenders books are starting to get hot because of the Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange rumors that are out there right now. So another book that I think might be worth picking up on the dip. Which brings us to the last book I have for our video. And before you guys say, whoa, Swaggle I am not touching this book with a 10-foot pole, let me at least give you guys my reasonings for Eternals number 2 from 1976. Now, we all know that this book is the first appearance of Ajak. I'm not really concerned with the Ajak factor, but one of the things that I like about this book is that this is the first appearance of Arishem, the Judge, and the Celestials. Now, say what you will about the Eternals film, it doesn't really matter, but what does matter is the fact that that film brought the Celestials and Arishem into the Marvel Cinematic Universe continuity. And Marvel is not going to allow a plot thread that big, literally, to go unfinished. I think we are definitely going to get the payoff of Arishem and the Celestials at some point in the future. And I feel like this is an important book for that reason. Like, it feels like, when the eventual like Avengers team or whatever the case is has to fight, the Celestials, that's going to be a huge tentpole movie. And so I really like this book for the Arishem factor. I mean, I could also in this slide point to Eternals #1 and Eternals #3 as other books that I think are exciting to get your hands on. But because I know the brand of Icarus and Cersei has been hurt so bad, I still think that there are people out there who will enjoy owning the Celestial book. But if we look at the CGC 9.8s, back then, at the height of the summer, they were selling around that $1,980 range. Now they sell around the $931 range, so a 53% correction. CGC 9.6s were $375 at the time, now $172, a 55% correction. And then average raws, in the summer, you could find this book around that $55 range. Now when you go into eBay, you can find it around the $25 range. And to me, at that price point, it feels like a pretty low risk overall. I mean, we're talking about prices that are rivaling what it was selling for in 2018 and 2019. I mean, that's how far down this book has gone. So right now, you can buy this book for less than what the rate of inflation would have done for the values of this thing anyway. So to me, Eternals #2 is a very interesting book. It feels like we're going to get a lot more Arishem in the future. And I definitely think that, when that happens and we get that big event film with like the Avengers going up against the Celestials in some kind of way, that book will definitely pick back up in the market. Anyways, that is all I have for this video. That was me talking about 5 books that I think might be worth picking up on the dip. I think that those 5 books probably got a little ahead of themselves based on their values, but where they sit currently in the market, and I look at the fundamentals of what those books actually represent, to me, I feel like they're probably good buying opportunities. Anyways, that's all for this video. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to hop over to my 10K subscriber giveaway. Join me on Saturday, 4:30 p.m. for my live stream claim sale if you want to just hang out or buy a book or maybe win another prize. Drop me a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.